So when I started working on this class, you know, I had the idea that probably a chapter on storytelling and image composition would be necessary, not because it's related to post-production, directly linked to it, but anyway, if your image has no structure, you can have the best post production ever, and the image is not going to work anyway. So I feel like we need to talk a little bit about image composition and storytelling and how to build your own image. And then post production will be used to, make the concept stronger, to emphasize some part of the image more than other parts. So, everything is kind of correlated, but not, I would say, not linearly, I would say. And another thing you need to know is, post production is one thing, matte painting is another thing. Okay, so post production is, at least this is my view on this is my take on it. Post production is when we do post production when we have an image at the base, a render. We start from the render. Matte painting instead is something kind of free. So you can start from a blank page. You can start from nothing, and you can start sketching. You can do photo merging. You can have a 3D base, a very rough 3D base, and you can start painting on top of it. But anyway, it's not going to work if you don't know what to do. And this is the problem. Sometimes we have too much freedom, and I don't like to have freedom. I don't like to have too much freedom, I would say. I need to have some, I would say, limitations. Sometimes those limitations comes from the client. Sometimes sometimes I put limitations myself. And the reason is, if you are if you're really free to do what you want, sometimes it's scary, first of all, and you can lose yourself in the process. Meanwhile, if you have some limits, you need to stick with that. You need to follow them. You need to stay inside them. And, ultimately for me, creativity is to move within some limits. Okay. Limit could be a limit could be anything. Could be a photographic limit, could be, I don't know, rule of third could be a limit. Limit, the word limit is not negative. I would say I see this word as a positive word. Okay, something that pushed me to try to do my best with the tools I have, with the building I have, with the image I have, with the needs of the clients. And we will see not every image is the same, not every image has the same purpose, and we need to know exactly where we need to go in order to start, in order to develop the artwork and do some post-production. First of all, the most important thing when we create an image or we do some post-production is to know what is the main character of your story. Now, when I say story, I don't mean that every image has to be a story. An image could be a moment of a story. So, don't think that, oh, okay, now I need to, write a book about an image. No. You don't have to write any book. You don't have to, direct a movie. It's just like if you have to direct a single shot of a movie. It's like if you have to write a page of the book, right? Not the entire thing. And that will help you not only to understand what to do and what not to do, but you can also have more ideas. You can start writing on a piece of paper things that you like, things that you may not like, or even better, which is something I do, I don't think in terms of what I like or don't like. I always think in terms of what is the best for the image itself. Okay. Because, what do you like or not like doesn't really matter at one point. So for example, I mean, I remember years ago, there was a student, it was close to, complete his image. And at one point he said, yeah, I would like to put a Ferrari in front of the house, in front of the building. And so my question is always the same. So why you should do that? Why you want to do that? And the answer was, yeah, because, I like Ferrari. Yeah, but that is not the right reason to put a car in front of the building, because you are, taking that decision would be wrong because it's taken on what you like, and who cares about what you like? It's about what is the best for the image itself. If you put a Ferrari in front of the building, nobody's watching the building anymore, probably, and everybody will look at the red car. And so you are not doing a favor to the image. You are not pushing the image. You are distracting the eyes from the building, in favor of a car, which is, probably not necessary. And, this is an extreme example, of course, but, long story short, you need to always think about what is the best for the image itself. So to understand what to do, first of all, you need to understand who is the main character of the story. Or if you feel better, who is the main character of the book, of the page of the book, okay? Not the whole story, but that frame, that shot, okay? Like if you are a director and you need to record the shot and you have, I don't know, a couple of actors in front of you, and you have your, the photography director close to you, and you decide everything about that shot, okay? So the main character, could be anything. First of all, could be anything. We are doing ArcVids, so probably the main character, 9 times out of 10 would be the building itself, okay? But in some cases, it could be something else. Could be maybe a part of the building, maybe a detail, maybe could be, I don't know, sometimes it's just, a person, could be a person. It depends, okay? It depends on how you place everything in the scene and where the eyes of the viewer are guided, okay? But anyway, the first thing to do is, to define who's the main character. And as you can see from, for example, in this image, the main character may be the woman here watching with, the binoculars or the telescope, or maybe is this area of the building, okay? So anyway, you need something to, there is, the main character is the excuse for what you make an image, is the reason why you are making the image. And it should be easy to understand. I mean, if somebody watch your image and you ask him, tell me what you see, tell me, what is the most, cool thing that you see in this image. And if they answer the track here from Breaking Bad, the answer is right, and that's because that is the main character of this image, okay? But sometimes could be something else. And for example, in this image, the main character is the couple. I don't know, is some Valentine days, and then they are taking a picture, and that's the main character of the image. And in this case, the house is the surrounding, the environment, okay? So the first thing to know is who's your character, because then you can develop your story and you can start the journey, I would say. The other reason, one reason to understand who's the character in this case, is this basically this tree and the building itself. It's because then you need to know the methods and the ways to bring my attention to the main character. And there is a lot of ways to do that. There's like photography rules. There's like contrast. Contrast works very well. Like in this case, as you can see here, we have this very contrasted line here on the top, on the roof. And you see one pixel is white and the next pixel is very dark. So we have a lot of contrast. Another way to, call the attention of the viewer is, for example, geometric shapes, perfect geometric shape like rectangles. And as you can see here, we are lucky in this building. We have a lot of rectangles, and so it's easier to catch the attention there. Okay. Another way to catch the attention is to use guidelines. And as you can see here, we have guidelines. You see strong lines going in just one direction. And it's the same idea of, you can see the same idea. This is the ArtStation account of SOE Academy. And you can see the same idea over and over again. As you can see here, this lines here, even if the contrast is not that strong, it's like an arrow. It's like the point of the tip of an arrow, and is just shouting to you, look here, please. Just look there at the airport. And you see is in this area where we have the main character of the story, we have also a lot of contrast. We have a weird shape, which is, just a gift, from the architecture itself. And we have, reflections, which are cool. So, in this case, it was easy because, sometimes you are lucky and you have a lot of things that will match together, and it's easier to make an image. Sometimes you need to look at, the whole building and search for the cool shot, and you need to understand how to drive the attention to the shot. Like in this case, this image is great and it works wonderfully because we have a strong guiding line that, makes you to, go from the top to the bottom with the eyes, and then boom, you have the tree that also brings you back on the top. And so it's incredible, and it works very well. But it works mainly because we have a point of attention, and we are trying to force the viewer to go there. So without a point of attention, the image doesn't make any sense. There's no reason to do it. Okay. So first of all, guys, once you if you are in 3ds Max, if you are in Cinema 4D, doesn't matter. The first thing you need to do is you need to have an idea about who's the main character of your shot. Okay, could be an object, could be a person, could be a part of the building, could be the entire building, etc. Once you have that, then you can start developing the whole thing. Okay. And sometimes if you have a main focus, if you have a main character in the story, just that thing is not enough. Just one point of attention is not enough, even if is the most important thing in the image, like this light here. And the problem is our brain get used very soon to anything. And if you think is it's a very it's a point of strength in the human's brain, and we get used to everything, even bad things, and it's our way to survive sometimes. But in case of images, that's not great, because if we get used to an image, that means we get also bored by that. We understand what's happening, and you say, okay, that's it, I get it, let's go to the next one. And so what to do? We need to add an element, and sometimes that element helps to balance the image. Imagine this image without the guy here. Yeah, probably would be a cool image anyway, but something, would probably definitely missing. And the guy here is our balance point. So, it helps the brain to detach for a moment from the focus point, and then, you look at here for a second, say, okay, there's a guy here. It's probably, I don't know, a visitor, probably is, someone just finished to cut the wood, and he's looking inside, and your brain start working, and that happens no matter what. I mean, and then this is a trick behind a good image. It kind of switch on your brain and let you think, oh, what's happening? I don't know. Let's see. Let's think about it. And that's the real power of an image. Is the same reason? Is the same example? Is the same difference between the TV and the computer? When you are in front of the TV after dinner, I don't know, and you're watching some TV. Most of the time, what happens? You fall asleep because you don't know, you're tired. You eat something, and then you relax, and then you're in front of the TV. What happens? You get images, you receive images, you receive inputs, but you are not, I would say, giving something back. Is a one-way only media, right? But when you are in front of the computer, does nothing if you don't click with the mouse, if you don't press key on the keyboard or something like that. So, and in front of the computer, you stay awake a lot more than in front of the TV. And that's because your brain is not shutting down. Your brain is awake and is just working. And this is the same difference between, a bad image and a good image. A bad image will just explain you everything, probably in a way which is too easy, and is giving, basically, a bad image is an image that gives you everything on a server plate. Okay, that's it, and you understand everything about it in 1 second. Then your brain don't find anything else. Doesn't really, is not attracted anymore by the image, and flip the page, and it goes forward. Meanwhile, if you have a good image, you can spend, I don't know, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds over the image. And even if you think that time is short, 20 seconds on an image is a lot of time. Your brain will remember that image for a lot of, for years probably. And, even if you don't want, okay? And so there's also a trick to, force the viewer to stay on the image for more time than probably necessary. But, we are going to see this in the next video. Anyway, we need the focus point, the main character, and then we need the balance point. And most of the time, the balance point also helps to tell a story. So you can use a balance point. It could be a person most of the time to, tell your story. Something is happening. There is, I don't know, you see like the building itself, and then there's one guy and some drones. And it's, in the end, if you think to add a person on top of your render and add some other stuff, is not that difficult. It's not time consumer, and it's something you can easily add. And the difference between before and after would be huge. It's gonna be huge, and so it's a big difference with a very, very small effort. And you need to do that effort. You need to spend some time thinking, okay, let's build the image right now, even before switching on 3ds Max. And if you're, one thing I tell every time to my students is, if you are looking at someone else's image, and we are talking about good artists, we are talking about expert artists, and you really like that image, probably nothing is random in that image. Everything is there for a reason. And even the smallest thing, and it's because and everything is defined, and everything has its own perfect position to drive your attention, to guide your eyes in a certain way. It means, there, you can have just one wrong object in your image, just one wrong person, or the Ferrari, the red car, and everything is ruined, everything is wrecked. And at that point it's better to not do any image at all. Okay, this is the most important message I would to share with you. And in the next videos we are going to talk about storytelling, and how to do a composition, and some tricks, some tips, and we are going to analyze other artists' images, because we need to try to learn from the best. And the best thing you can do is to copy them at first. I'm not saying you need to copy paste someone else's image. I'm saying that if somebody use a trick to make his image stronger, then you can try the same trick. I'm talking about, I don't know, saturation, contrast, a certain way of making a shot with the camera, some photographic rules, etc. This is the starting point. Okay, copy, because copy is to learn how to copy. It's important because it gives you the the mental strength and the right, and put you in the right track to do to take the right choice. Okay, that's it. This is all for this video, and the next video we are going to talk about the loop test.